We are Tristan and Michael. When we got married, we didn't really know what we were getting into. The busyness and challenges of a blended family, trying to figure out how to love an imperfect person, dealing with the ups and downs of becoming one, and everything that goes into having a successful relationship. Let's learn how to heal, how to forgive, and how to grow. This is Fused. Thank you for tuning in. We are Tristan and Michael, and you are listening to Fused, transparent conversations for marriage, family, and relationships. We invite you to join us as we discuss perspectives that are thought about but not talked about. So tell your friends and family to check us out and join the conversation by emailing us at info@fusedmarriages.com. All right, Michael, what are we jumping into today?
Absolutely. Welcome back, y'all. Y'all subscribe, comment. The YouTube page.
Yes.
If you're on the podcast, drop us a little love heart.
Love heart.
Yeah, they got a little heart. You can press it. You can see how you like it. Put a little comment. Yeah.
We know. We got you.
Just share a little love. If you dig in it, maybe you got a comment about something you heard.
We hope so.
You may
with us.
They may disagree with something.
That's okay. It's open. It's an open conversation.
Open dialogue.
We want to hear from you.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So we know as we are getting we're in January now, right? Yes. Mm-hmm. And typically, this time of year, people are starting to really plan for weddings and getting things, trying to figure out if they're COVID's kind of put a little damper on it a little bit.
A little.
But I think people are going to start looking okay, March, April, May,
springtime.
Mm-hmm. And it's it's a beautiful time of the year, right? Because it's a lot of excitement. People about to take that next step. We've spoken with some people that are, planning getting married and all that and this year.
Yeah.
And it's the question comes up, should they how much money should they spend on the wedding? Right. Mm-hmm. It's always a thought with probably both the bride and the groom. How are we going to pay for this thing? And then how much should we pay for it?
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes, some of y'all got, your daddies and kind of come in, your uncles, whoever kind of chip in, they help out with the wedding. Some people are no, we doing this on our own.
So this is a whole thing. Okay. So weddings, ladies, gentlemen, we don't know if we have any groomzillas or bridezillas out there.
They not going to admit it.
Yes, they would.
A groomzilla?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know no dude going to admit it. They going to discover
There's some very particular dudes out there. Holla at us if you're one of them. So we are talking about weddings. February's right around the corner, Valentine's Day, all of that. I heard somebody say that it's Singles Awareness Day.
If you don't have, I
thought that was funny.
I like that.
But we have wedding season is right around the corner. So a lot of people like to get married because you can do pictures outside, all that stuff in the spring, depending on where you are listening from. But having a big wedding or a small wedding, there are all these questions. And one of the questions, probably the biggest one, is the finance. So I know we're going to talk about finance, but I also want to make sure that we get to the family aspect of having a big or a small wedding. So as you're listening, keep your ears open. If you have something to say about that, let us know. Type in the comment section, or you can email us info@fusedmarriages.com. Okay. So the finance thing you kind of brought up a little bit.
Yeah.
So what is your perspective? I'll put you on the spot. Big or small?
Yeah, we can get to where I fall in at.
Oh, Lord.
But it's a process of us kind of talking through it first.
Okay.
And it's okay, first of all, it's it's a major deal. Mm-hmm. I think the ceremony, the moment, who you have there, who you don't have there, how it's orchestrated, it's a major deal. It's supposed to be a once in a lifetime event.
Yeah.
And we can't underestimate that or kind of mitigate that by just say, okay, it's a money thing or not a money thing.
Well, some people don't do the ceremony because of a money thing. And some people just don't want the ceremony.
Yeah.
Some people why? I go to the courthouse and then have a reception only, or I will take that money and go on a cruise or go on a honeymoon trip. And then there are some that might have been married more than once and they're not really interested in I don't want to really gather everybody again. That's a lot.
It is a lot. It's a lot psychologically, a lot. Sometimes we bring that point up, people get in their headspace, they done it before. Nah, bump that. I'm not gonna be putting myself out there with my whole family again. They know I done messed up.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna put myself out there again.
Yeah,
Man, come on, that's hard.
Yeah, it can be hard, but it also is like, okay, what do you want? Because there's a basketball player, right? You told me about this, and his wife has a wedding every year.
Yeah, Doug Christie every year.
Doug Christie every year. She has a new ceremony, like a full. Yeah. I didn't know that was a thing, but she has a full ceremony with the wedding dress and
everything,
the
kids and all. Yeah.
That's interesting. What happens when like her kids want to get married around?
They better plan around not their anniversary date. They better have it somewhere another month.
But I mean, won't he, like, the dad help pay for that? Like, he's gonna be paying for 2 full weddings.
That's what he signed up for. When he married Jackie Christie, that's what he signed up for.
He's never said anything about it.
Like, that's my woman. That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay, hey.
And she like, that's what he gonna do. Okay. I don't know if she telling him or he doing it on his own, but that's what happened.
I ain't got no problems.
Yeah.
Do you, boo? Do you?
You know Jackie Christie, you wouldn't have. She a little bit different. She a little different.
In a good. Like,
she a little bit different. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't talk about people like that.
Researcher.
This researcher. She a little different.
Okay. Well, if she is able to pull off.
Yeah.
They've been married for a long time.
Yeah. 20 plus.
She's able to pull off 20 years worth of weddings, 20 plus years worth of weddings, like, more power.
Yeah.
But for those of us that are kind of having the conversation about, our one wedding,
right?
Like, okay, so big or small, would you redo it? So
big or small? Big or small? But I'm gonna cut to the chase, right? We're gonna talk about this all the way through, though. I would not advise anybody having a big wedding.
What's big? Define.
Big. I would have it as small as possible in order for me to be happy, and that's individual decision on what small is. But I would not stretch the budget to have a big wedding.
Okay.
I would more try to have a big reception versus a big wedding.
Yeah.
And the reception can happen anytime, right? You can plan for that, months after, weeks after, the next day, whatever. You can plan for that.
So there might be some like soon to be married people that are discouraged.
I'm hoping they listening. Yeah, hoping they listening.
Oh Lord.
Cause soon to be, soon to be married, especially people that haven't been married before. It's like, I'm gonna say women, they got in their mind, they got this idea of this big wedding and who all gonna be there. They got 6 brides that costs. You gotta have 6 grooms. Yeah. I'm sorry, 6 bridesmaids that costs. I mean, you gotta have. You gotta have 6 grooms, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, okay, well then you got to go.
Got to match.
You got to match, right? I may not have 6 close dudes like that. I wanted this. Now I'm just getting your brother and cousin them. Like, but okay, so they got that. They can't tell their girls no because they want to be a part of the whole. You know what I mean? Then you got the other. So it's like then you got the food and the venue and this idea. Like, man, it's gonna be. You know what I mean? Grand.
One thing that I don't think a lot of brides think about is it's a very stressful day. Even if you have a wedding coordinator and a wedding planner, it's just so much going on. Like you don't really, it's not like a really relaxing day. So you're spending a lot of money potentially, and it's not really even for you because you are up walking around, you're dancing with the love of your life. You need to remember the steps to that, the song. And when the song comes on and I'm hungry, but I can't get up, I need somebody to help bustle me so I can go to the restroom. The flower girl, she's off somewhere, got her dress dirty. We need a safety pin. There's just so many moving pieces. And then when you get to the reception, then it's like everybody wants to shake your hands and give you hugs and give you gifts, and you're glad to see them, but that's exhausting. Even with a wedding coordinator, when they say like, hey, the bride's gonna sit, like depending on how pushy your wedding coordinator is, you still feel obligated to go, shake hands and kiss babies. You still feel like, man, these people traveled from out of town. You want them to be there, you want to enjoy them, but it's also not like. One of the favorite parts, I've never heard a bride complain, is when it's over. When you get into the car with now your spouse, from a bride's perspective, and sit and be like, oh my gosh, we did it. We pulled it off.
Yeah.
It's done. And then some people are paying for that wedding for the next 2-3 years.
At least, yeah.
Yeah. So what number would you put on as like a reasonable, oh Lord, see that look.
No, what number? I'm like, man, everybody's budget different.
For a reasonable budget for a small wedding.
Everybody's budget is different.
I know, but what number would you put on for a small wedding? I mean, even if somebody has, $1 million in the bank, it doesn't mean that they should spend $1 million on a wedding. So what do you look like?
I wouldn't spend any money on a wedding. I would have a pastor marry me and my spouse, and then I would basically then invite a special guest to afterwards. And like have this in a, I wouldn't. The wedding day is the wedding day.
What about like destination weddings?
That's a bill for you and your guest. Unless you paying for your guests to go to
destination weddings that you can get like rooms at a discount and you're not necessarily paying. Like I have been invited to destination weddings where like if you want to go, you have to pay.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean the bride and groom are paying for your
No, I'm just saying though, then you got basically you giving your guest the cost, putting that on them.
That's true.
That means less gifts if that's what you're into.
Some people just like gift cards.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but if they haven't spent money on to get there and they're gonna give you a gift, hold on, I'm here. That's my gift.
Well, some people look at it like, okay, I'm taking a trip. Like, cause it's not like you're doing wedding stuff the entire time. Like, okay, we're going to Jamaica. We're going to spend, 2 hours doing wedding-ish stuff. But the rest of this 4 or 5 day cruise, I'm on my own. Like, okay, I'm taking this as a trip with friends or a trip with family. Like you can almost look at it like part of like a family reunion. So I think that that's not a bad idea.
Some people,
so my perspective is in terms of the cost, I still want a wedding, but I would say that I would not do it as big as we did ours. We didn't have a blowout wedding. Our wedding was extremely stressful. So we can get into that in another show. It was so stressful. I was stressed out for like until after the honeymoon, but that was a whole nother story. We're a blended family. We had a lot of dynamics. We're gonna talk about families in just a second, but I would say that the more intimate, the more people you have at your wedding, the less it becomes about your union. And it should be, in my opinion, more about your union, because then it becomes about, is everybody's dressed the right way? Do they are the candles lit? All of that. Like, I think I would have truncated our ceremony to just a few people, but then you're worried about, are people offended? All of that. But I think that looking back, if I had made it much more intimate, just like very, very few people, and then had like a big reception, not only does that save you not as much on the finance side, but just on the being able to live in the moment instead of projecting what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's just like I said, I don't know if I put a dollar figure for everybody's budget is different. So I don't want to say what's small, what's big, but it's like, I wouldn't spend a lot on the wedding. I would cut back to just, if I can get just a few close people and a minister that's going to, facilitate that moment. That's what I would do. That's what I would advise anybody to do.
Okay. So that, because you said a few close people.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about the finances, but I want to make sure that we talk about family and friends, because there are some people that might consider you close, but you don't consider them close, right? That's a whole nother show. But then how do you determine who should be a part of, your wedding plans, because there's attitudes. There are people that get offended and upset. Believe me, I was surprised at the people that got upset with me about, how they participated in what capacity at my wedding.
To be honest with you, I think, that's a bride's problem. I've never not been invited to a wedding and got mad. I don't know no guy that didn't get invited to a wedding. Like, man, I can't believe I didn't get invited.
Well, not just invited, like to participate.
Participate, invited, whatever, any capacity. I don't know a guy that's gotten upset because he couldn't participate or wasn't invited to a wedding. It's a bride problem.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's like, you know what? No, it's because guys got like, you know what? You do you try, you happy? We happy for you. And that's all we care about. So whether we there or not, you come back like, what's I'm talking about, man? How was it? We gonna ask how it was, and that's it, man. That's what's up. You know what I mean?
I don't know if all guys think
man,
like that.
The circle I run around in, I don't know no guy that's like,
okay,
a
brothers, hit us
type.
up if you feel that Michael is correct, because I can't imagine, you run with somebody from middle school, but they not like your cool friend, but y'all been cool for a minute, like y'all not real tight, and then they're not invited to the wedding and they don't get somewhat offended. I can't see that.
But like, they gonna know, like, right, okay, you not inviting because hey, we trying to keep everything budget down. We trying to get this house. We got to buy this car. We got to put these kids in private, whatever they trying to do. They gonna be like, man, what's up? I know that's right. Because they know how much it is for a man to carry that financial burden if he has to
I agree with that part. I just cannot see it. So, but I can be jaded. I can be wrong. Let me know, because I want to hear if y'all have ever had that happen, because I know there were people that when we were making our wedding list, it was so hard to determine, hey, we have this many tables. This is how much food is. Who doesn't get to participate? Who doesn't get to come? You know, I'm just saying, like, again, our wedding was very, very stressful. Who wanted to do what at our wedding was just surprising. So if you have wedding horror stories or wonderful wedding stories, we need to exchange info. Because there are some people out there that have not had anything yet, and they don't know what to expect or what to anticipate. So one of the questions I have for you,
what you got?
You all know we are a blended family. So that brings a whole new element to weddings. What are your thoughts about that?
About blended family?
Blended family and weddings.
And what
or being married once before, like how did that influence you?
Oh yeah, I mean, so blended family, I think, you know what, if you have kids from a previous relationship, I think the kids should be involved. I think the ceremony is really about you, your new spouse, and the kids. That's who's really getting married first. And if y'all got to get that right and get that union kind of solidified first. So they should be involved in some capacity, right? If they're old enough and all that. That's just my thought on the blended family and kids. Now, what was the second question? Make sure I got it.
Like if you've been married before, blended, divorce, how that works, how it feels.
If you've been married before, how does it affect? I mean, really, yeah, I guess it does. It kind of like puts a little like salty taste in your mouth, right? Because you got egg on your face from, man, you've done this before. You might have had some big wedding or same people were there. You like, you gonna do it again? Like they look at you like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? Like, oh, okay. You sure about this one? Like, you know what I mean? They ain't saying it, but you know they thinking it.
Yeah.
So it's like on the inside, you're like, man, I really want to put myself out there like that. Even if you know it's for real. You like, I want to put myself like even like in that position for them to kind of see me that way. I'd rather say, you know what? Hey, by the way, here's my new, you know what I mean? Forget about the whole ceremony because y'all was at the last one. Now y'all gonna come to this one, act like the last one didn't happen. Like, what is that about?
Yeah. And I think it might depend too on how long the time has been since like the first marriage and this one. Like if it was like a year ago, like, or 2 years ago, y'all just got divorced, now you're getting remarried. That's like,
that's kind of weird. That's kind of weird. That's kind of a little awkward.
Yeah.
It's kind of a little awkward for everybody.
It makes
you know
it really
I mean?
bad for the new person too.
It does.
Like,
it looks horrible.
Nobody can look at that new male or woman and be like, "This is awesome." It's like, "Wait, you just got? It's only been 6 months.
Yeah.
Like, when did y'all meet? How long y'all date?" Like, it makes it very uncomfortable. Not to say that you shouldn't. I'm definitely not saying that. I do think that, hey, if this is the person and, you know, you've had a little bit of time and distance, because what you don't want to do is hop out of one relationship and hop into another one because it makes you feel good. It's helping you get over. Like there's the saying, like, the best way to get over somebody is to get under somebody. I know that's not really, you know, it's taboo or whatever. But I do agree that.
I don't know what this taboo, what that means.
I mean, it's like a little grimy, I guess.
Yeah, okay. I'm like taboo. I'm like, okay.
Maybe not taboo. I'm grimy. Okay.
Yeah.
See, you sticking with it too long. I was trying to say it and move on. You want to like dialogue about. Okay, so anyway, my point was sometimes I think that is part of why it makes it challenging for the next person, because they came around and you're introducing them. This is my new dude, and it's not that you shouldn't, because I think be happy, pursue, live life, but I also. You want to protect that relationship so that when you're moving forward, people don't have in the back of their mind, like, they're not going to make it. They just using them, you know, all of that. So I think that that's an important aspect. But in terms of the blended family and things like that, obviously, like I've said, it was really challenging for us because it's not necessarily that you always have the familial or friend support. So for those of you guys that are out there that have are blended or are trying to pull together these families, the most important thing is the unit. First, the marriage, that you and your spouse get on the same page, that y'all are going the same direction, that there is no kind of confusion on this is what I want this day to look like. And then you bring in the kids, to what degree they can emotionally handle, how supportive they are. You don't want to force somebody to say, hey, I want you to be a junior bridesmaid. And they're like, I hate you. You know, like, that's not going to be a good day for you.
And that's a bride's problem. We don't, man, you said the stuff you talking about, Men do not even.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So then what are the men's problems
we don't have
on
any.
wedding day? Man.
No, but honest with you, the one we have, it's financial.
Okay.
Can we afford it? Right? Because we want to make our woman happy first and foremost, right? Most of us do want to say, okay, you know, we're trying to give her what she wants on that day.
Yes.
And we're going to do everything possible to make that happen. Mm-hmm. That is the only burden that we carry. I'm not going to say for every man, but for most of us, that is the only burden we carry. Okay, you know what? Try to make the day so that she's happy with it. Mm-hmm. We don't care nothing about no flowers. You know what I mean? Who's there, who's not there? I'm not saying you. Okay. I'm just saying that. But women, you got to get flowers. Cost, you know, $500-$600. Want them sprinkled through the church, whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, like, I'm like, want them staged and arranged and stuff. I'm like, why we need flowers? We ain't gonna see them for 2 minutes.
Because they're beautiful. I love flowers.
I'm saying the mentality of a man. I'm not saying what women is.
We didn't have a lot of flowers. That's not where we spend our money. So
yeah, no, but
I wouldn't spend. I think you should likely not spend your money on the things that are disposable, like that.
The wedding is disposable. You know what I mean? It's just a moment, a fleeting moment.
I want to spend some money on the dress. I want, I like the idea of how nicely you looked in your tux. I liked that.
Look nice. I ain't got a problem with that. We should look nice. I should look nice. You should look nice.
Okay.
But what does looking nice cost, right? That's like, do I need to get a tuck? If
I want a photographer and a videographer, I think you should spend the money on that. That's a memory.
That's for definitely pictures. I can see that. The video part, it'd be nice, but typically that's a little bit higher cost. Depends on who you get.
That's true.
In most cases. But I think pictures is definitely, I would spend money on pictures. Okay. I would spend, if it cost you $800-$900, whatever.
Food?
On food? I wouldn't spend money on food.
So you're just going to have a whole bunch of hungry congregants.
No, but the point of them coming to the wedding is support us, right? And us in that moment. Not necessarily for us to them party on our money. I'm just saying.
So I guess... Thank you all for coming to our wedding because you were able to eat apparently according to just for me.
I'm just saying that no, they share in that moment. But if I'm having to do it, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And think about it saying, okay, do I take, $3,000 and feed, 30, 40 people? Mm-hmm. Or do I put that towards somewhere else that our family needs? And
so what would that reception look like? Would you have a reception? Because you say you're not going to spend a lot of money on the wedding. Would you not spend a lot of money on the reception either? I
probably wouldn't have a reception immediately after the wedding day.
Okay.
It'd probably be somewhere like, a couple weeks after, a month after.
Okay.
We'll have like a gathering, right? A reception kind of, hey, here are the Coulters. Mm-hmm. We'll be able to kind of figure out what that looked like and to say we're going to have a good time together. Just, hey, this is us now.
Okay.
Instead of having something like immediately after, right? So you
wouldn't do like wedding cake and like traditional cutting the cake and all of that?
I would not. I probably wouldn't. I probably wouldn't. It's tradition. I'm not saying that people shouldn't do it, but if I'm like, man, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do that. I would keep it as simple as possible. Don't have a big wedding, y'all. If y'all listening to me, don't have a big.
If you're listening to him, you're gonna have a whole bunch of angry, hangry people. No. So I think
choose your friends wisely and your family.
See, people are going to be all divided. They're going to be like, which one do I do? So I agree about having a smaller wedding. But I still we had such a great reception. Mm-hmm. I loved our reception. I had 2 dresses. So I had my wedding dress and then I had the dress that we could hang out in.
You look fly.
Thank
you. Put some
Ben.
pictures up that on YouTube one day. So, good man.
We'll see. But we had a whole area that was for kids that had like bounce houses. We had sitters in there. They had colors and crayons. There was a place where people could nurse, all of that. And then we had like our normal area with the DJ and the eating. But for our food, we were able to, I feel like we budgeted pretty well. We had a wide variety and appetizers.
Go and tell them what we had. Go on and tell them what we had.
We had pizza.
They had pizza for our reception.
That's not all we had.
It wasn't all we had.
Huh?
It wasn't all we had.
No, we had a whole bunch of food. One of my girlfriends.
They probably looking. They had pizza. What they go? Papa John's.
We had cupcakes.
Actually, Domino's.
We had wedding cake.
For the record.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't think so. Was it?
It was Domino's.
We had all kinds of things. I have a girlfriend that does full spreads, and she did all these appetizers for us. And then we had the food, catered kind of food, where they brought you your plates and your salad. So we had lots of food because
you got to feed yourself. You got to feed yourself.
No, I'm saying I cannot imagine being there that long and being hungry.
It was good. It was good.
And
no,
we had little
we were
things
smart
on the
about
table, like the little candies and everything.
Yeah, we were smart about it. Because it laid out. Nobody knew it was like it looked like gourmet pizza, right? Nobody knew it actually came from like Domino's, right?
I didn't know it came from Domino's.
Because it was cut up nice and neat position. The younger kids were able to kind of come get the little, portion. The adults had stuff. We had other,
Well, shout out to Domino's, I guess.
Finger
Sponsor
foods.
us.
Yeah, finger, right, for real. Sponsor us. Hit us up on info@Fused Marriages. Yeah, we will.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because it looked really, there's a lot of things that I didn't know.
I think your friend did that. She laid it out. It's laid out nice.
Yeah, we had like long tables. Yeah, we had like nice. The end of the, we had cereal and
it looked like it cost a lot. It did. We had
and so that's my point when it comes to the finance. If you're going to go ahead and have that beautiful reception, budget for it. Get involved as much as you can. Get your bridesmaids and your groomsmen involved as much as you can. If you want something made, see who you can call, who knows who. You would be surprised at how many, particularly older women that don't really have a lot to do, would love to participate. Like if you want something made or you want something purchased that kind of look pretty, you can get a lot of hands on deck. I wish I had done more of that. I'm kind of OCD, so I don't know that I still would have, but I wish I had done a little bit more of that. But doing the things that are really special to you. If you want a Unity candle, then you don't have to necessarily go to a wedding shop to get your Unity candle. You can go, you can make it. You could go to Hobby Lobby.
Marshalls.
Okay. Yeah,
they got candles?
I don't know. Yeah, okay.
Good smelling scent.
Okay.
You want
well,
to
that's
smell?
Not the smell of it is not the point.
I didn't know you said candle.
Yeah, so you might have your Unity candle, or you want to do your sand. You can buy the vases yourself. You can put it together yourself. There's a lot of DIY stuff that you can do to bring down the cost of your wedding. One of the things that I would recommend, as we've talked about finance, is to make sure that you have that conversation with your spouse where you're spending money and along the way, so that it's spending money like, okay, I have to purchase this. Is this still good? Because some of the things that we talk about in our show here on Fused Marriages is talking about how much finances can affect your union, how it can affect your marriage. So you don't want to start off on a bad foot. That I definitely agree. Yeah. You don't want to spend all of your money up front, particularly if you're doing it by yourself. Yeah. Even if you have somebody helping you, depending on your age and your own income. Like I would rather negotiate with my dad or your dad or whoever is like, hey, I know you planned on spending this much. Yeah. Why don't we spend half of that, and then you can help us buy a house, or you can help us with a car, you can help pay for other things. Because instead of saying, okay, we're going to spend $40,000 on a wedding, let's spend way less than that and put some in the bank. So that on the finance side. On the family side, making sure that you and your spouse, again, your wedding, first of all, your union is between the two of you. Then if you're blended or there are children involved, then it's them. One of the mistakes that we can make is putting our children in before, like making sure they're happy and they're comfortable and everything's good with them. That should be a part of it. But first, it should be between you and your spouse. That's what I think.
All that has to get worked out. This is off topic what we're talking about, the price and all that. But like the kids stuff should be worked out prior to, right? Understanding, like saying, okay, yeah, my new spouse is coming first, but they got to be worked out. Like, you know what I mean? Understood? Because that's a tough transition. Depends how old the kids are.
That's true.
If somebody had a kid and they like 14, 15, 16, like that's a lot. That's a hard, like, okay, hold on, I got to pivot.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for 16
years. That should be
years.
a slow shift. That should be something that you bring in slowly but surely. But that, again, that shouldn't happen like the week of the wedding where it's like, all right, they're first, you're kicked out. That's not really fair. But in another show, we'll have to also talk about if there's another parent involved, how much support or non-support, at what point you bring them in, all of that, because that is a whole nother element. But we definitely want to hear from you on this topic because there's a lot to it. You've heard our opinions. Absolutely. And Michael wants everybody to go home hungry. But we thank you guys so much for joining us. Make sure that you connect with us on Facebook and Instagram. And of course, check out our website for more content and resources, fusedmarriages.com. Let's talk about it.
You're listening to Fused with Tristan and Michael.